Ladies and gents, welcome back. The truckers were right. The Freedom Convoy protest was legal, a judge says. And now Ottawa is being sued. This from the Farmers Forum. Canadian government trampled on fundamental human rights with its COVID restrictions when it overreached on dealing with Freedom Convoy and must now answer to numerous lawsuits, including one by former premier as a well-respected constitutional lawyer. Speaking on Montreal lawyer Viva Frei's YouTube channel on March 25th, Keith Wilson noted that the mischief charges against his client, and Convoy leader Tamara Lich will not be successful. He counseled truckers to move. She counseled truckers to move in order to comply with police demands, not to block lanes, he said. And this is a really good live stream. I think you guys should check it out. I'll leave a link in the description down below so you can watch it in its entirety. Wilson, a lawyer for former Newfoundland Premier Brian Peckford, who is suing the federal government for breaching the charter rights by preventing unvaccinated people from leaving the country or getting on a bus, train, or ship. Brian Peckford, as you may know, is the last living signatory of the Charter of Rights in Canada. He would know what Canadians have rights for and what to sue the government for. Obviously, we are going to be able to establish charter breaches, Wilson said, adding that the government restricted mobility, security of the person, and freedom of conscience. Later in the article, Wilson also clarified that the Freedom Convoy protest was not illegal at any point, even though the Prime Minister Trudeau called it illegal and big media went along with it. Remember that the protest, as it was going on, and as Justin Trudeau was claiming that blockades were going on, all the blockades that did happen at the Windsor-Detroit border and at the Coutts border had all left by the point that in which Justin Trudeau declared a state of emergency, invoking the Emergency Powers Act. In fact, Ontario Supreme Court judge sided with the convoy when an injunction against honking horns was declared. The court also stated that provided the terms of the order are complied with, the defendants and other persons remain at liberty to engage in a peaceful and lawful and safe protest. Now, if you're unfamiliar, this injunction that took place, Ottawa municipality asked for, they had a lot of demands, and the only thing that passed in the injunction was an injunction to stop the honking of specifically train and air horns, not just a normal car horn. It was specifically those horns. Reality on the ground was often not being reported. While Ottawa police often announced that they had made a number of arrests during the Freedom Convoy protests, they never mentioned that many incidents were called in by truckers after people slit tires and cut gas lines, Wilson said. Police also negotiated with truckers as to which streets they would be allowed to block during the protest. When things heated up, the police blocked off Laurier Avenue to prevent east-west traffic flow, even though there was not one truck or protest vehicle on that street. Now, getting back to this arrests, yes, it turns out that a lot of the arrests were, in fact, people that came to disrupt the protest. It was actually the truckers themselves that called in the police to arrest people that they had found destroying their own property. So it was people destroying trucks, not property of Ottawa citizens, what the news media was reporting at the time. The Attorney General's reason for freezing bank accounts was based on an affidavit by a police officer who based his testimony on what he read in the news, Wilson said. I mean, this is the ultimate hearsay. This is usually you would not allow that in the court of law. But yeah, let's hear that again. The Attorney General's reason for freezing bank accounts was based on an affidavit by a police officer who based his testimony on what he read in the news. So what he heard from the CBC, who is known, or CTV or Global News, who are well known for lying on their reporting. Wilson said, adding that the courts don't rely on third-party hearsay. This is ridiculous. We ran into this problem of circularity all the time, of the media saying something, police then saying, well, the news was saying it, then the media was saying it, while the police said it. Wow. That is the standard in our courts today, it seems, or at least with our current regime. Wilson is already seeing some early clarification that the truckers and their supporters have been slandered. Barry McKillop, deputy director of FinTrack, the federal organization that goes after terrorism funds and criminal money laundering, told the Commons Finance Committee that there was not a shred of legal activity associated with the trucker convoy. Here's a short little clip of the final question in there, where he makes this statement.
Do you have any concerns, or have there been any flags raised thus far around potential sources of funding for what has been happening in Ottawa?
Thank you for the question. No, the sources of funding that we've seen today, we have not seen a spike. And as you know, I can't speak to specific reporting or reporting on any individuals or organizations, but we have not seen a spike in suspicious transaction reporting, for example, related to this.
Now, there's a longer video, and I'll put a link for the description in the description down below, where he gets into more detail of what they were actually looking for.
Justin Trudeau threatened Canadians with...
Whoop, here we go. Wilson already said McKillop, there were people around the world who were fed up with COVID and were upset and saw demonstrations. I believe they just wanted this to support the cause. It was in their own money. It wasn't money that funded terrorism or was in any way money laundering. So FinTrack was not necessary for this proceeding. Wilson said there was nothing to justify using Federal Emergencies Act, this government writing a blank check over your rights and your life. This was retaliatory measure by an authoritarian poodlin, I don't know that word, child prime minister lashing out. And that's, I think most people would agree with that. Most people would agree that the government had taken steps beyond their purview in this scenario, and in fact going beyond what the rhetoric actually even said. They were saying that they were trying to stop blockades and closures, none of which have proved to be the case. Now, what's come into question now is, does the Charter of Rights in Canada have any weight if the government can, under false pretext, remove the charter, even if it is temporarily removed? Do they have the right to remove it, or does the charter even mean anything? And I'll leave that question for you guys. Leave a comment in the comment section down below, and we'll see you in the next video. Keep on trucking.